You're halfway through explaining your feelings, your fears, your vulnerability, and you see in the eyes of your partner, in their body language, that they're closing off. The thing is, when you have an avoidant attachment style, whenever the discussion is around vulnerability, we feel cornered. And I used to be dismissive avoidant. And the reason they feel this way is because you're not using safety channels. And this is what we will discuss today in this video, how you can use effective communication with your avoidant partner should you want to finally connect with them at the emotional level. And it hurts a lot when you're dealing with an avoidant partner. You want to be yourself, you want to invest, you want to be vulnerable. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. But it seems that the way they react, they're rejecting you. You know, they shut down. You are nice. So very often their clients would tell me, you know, I'm being super nice, I'm being super caring. And the only thing I get in return is that they pull back. Sometimes it's also something that you probably experienced when you were younger, and I'd let you reflect on this, is this idea of walking on eggshells. So a lot of people who have an anxious attachment style, and who had this experience with their parents, where they felt if I express myself, if I want to be vocal in the family setting, I'm going to have to walk on eggshells because I'm a bit scared of their reaction. The thing is, when you date an avoidant partner, sometimes you want this familiarity. This is not the topic of this video, but just to explain that sometimes we are attracted to things that are not necessarily healthy for us, but they are familiar. So first thing, reflect on this. Then we're going to discuss about communication. So from the point of view of the avoidant attachment person, we hear emotion as a demand. When I grew up with lovely parents, but somehow being sad, being excited, being too much was met with, you have to fit in, right? Just be quiet. And when you're a kid, you want to please your parents. And you quickly realize that if I want to get any form of recognition, I need to adopt this type of behavior, i.e., no fuss. So whenever you're emotional with them, they have no clue how to respond because their body, it's at the body level, register this as a threat, as danger, as pressure. And so what's going on is whenever you open up, whenever you are being emotional, they block it because they label this as a threat, as something they're not willing to give you back. And so you need to understand this concept of safety frequency. We are, when I say we, it's dismissive avoidant, we are actually very sensitive. It doesn't come across as we are sensitive because we feel like, we're blocking everything, we're very strong. And that's what I thought for many years, that was very strong. In a way, I was just putting my feelings on the side, dismissing things. When you have a calm tone, when you're not judging, when you're not pressuring, this signals to your partner safety. The only way to repair a relationship, to build a relationship with someone who has insecure attachment style is through safety. And this is why when you have that safety tone, that safety frequency, this is where they will be curious. They will want to know more. They will feel in control as well, right? And when you're fully regulated, both of you and them, then you can reconnect. Then you can invest. Then you can discuss things out. Most of the time, when you have a hard time connecting with your partner, and if this partner has an avoidant attachment style, it's even harder, is because of this element of safety. They perceive this conversation as a threat. They are scared of the outcome. They are scared of either not being able to give you any form of clarity, and also not even knowing, because for me, it took me years to figure out what are emotions. I had 3 range of emotions: happy, sad, not even sad, happy, not happy, basically. And so for them, maybe they are at the start of their journey. It's not necessarily natural to open up and to express these feelings because back in the days when they were younger, they were taught emotions are not valid, they are a waste of time. And this is why you have to understand that some of what you want to do will backfire. So don't over-explain feelings. Don't chase validation. Don't chase for an answer. Don't chase for closure. Don't try to match they withdraw, right? So sometimes people end up, oh, we had an argument and he doesn't want to talk to me. And so, okay, but what are you doing? And I'm not talking to him because he doesn't want to talk to me. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. What you have to understand is that the only way to create that sense of safety is to understand your partner's attachment style, to understand their trigger points, and adapt your communication accordingly. Yes, you want to express feelings. Yes, you want to open up, but that won't work with an avoidant partner. Now, does it mean you should always be complacent and have this type of relationship? No. The point is, if you want to diffuse things, if you want to repair, you have to start somewhere. And so the strategy that I apply with my clients, but it's the only strategy actually. It's really to start from their point of view, speaking their language. Then, once they feel safe, you can teach them about your own language, your own attachment wounds. I call this concept pragmatic empathy. So that's why it's important to know about yourself, to know about your partner, being able to be bilingual in that sense, adapting your language. It's not so much about changing who you are or changing who they are. It's about adapting and trying to see things from their point of view so you can, in return, expect them to see things from your point of view. So how do you do it? You start light. Again, it's not necessarily what you want to do, what your desire or your gut feel is pushing you to do. Let's start small, something small. I know maybe you have a list of things you want to discuss with them. Let's start with the easiest thing to discuss. Obviously, you have to start. So these are the nonviolent communication principles. Start with I rather than you. You always on your phone. You never get back. You never message me when you travel, etc., etc. No, don't use those words. Again, the point is not to argue whether you're right or wrong. We don't care. What we care is how can we create this sense of safety. If you start by you accusing, judging, etc., etc., those statements, you won't get anywhere. So it needs to be I feel in a certain way when this happens. The principle of nonviolent communication is that if you start with I statements, expressing an emotion, if the person you're speaking with cares about you, has feelings for you, they would want to help you. They would want to fix this because they don't want you to be upset, to be sad, to be depressed, etc., etc. Use eye contact if possible. Don't speak very fast, the same way I just did with this video. Take your time. Again, by pausing, by taking your time, by not being so aggressive in the tone, you create that element of safety. And then it's all about the ask. When you ask, you, in a way, give them a sense of control, right? It is very important. So repairing is always safety and control. We feel safe because we feel in control. And you have to let go a little bit this idea of control. So if you have an anxious attachment style, I'm sure you love to be in control. That's why you're anxious, because you want to control everything. You have to let go. It is not productive if you're dealing with an avoidant. Again, you have probably an agenda of things you want to discuss, one thing. And as soon as you're done with that thing, you stop there. The reason you stop there is because you want this to end on a high note. You want your partner to realize, we had this conversation. I thought it would be difficult. I thought it would be painful. Actually, at the end of the day, that was fine, right? I feel safe after we had this conversation. If you escalate things, that's what most people do. If you escalate and like, okay, we did this, now I have this and that and that. What will happen is that your partner will push back, withdraw, and you're going to end nowhere. And you're going to start from scratch again if you want to solve things. So that's why when I work with my clients, it's really like consistency, creating that sense of safety and consistently repairing the bond. If that was helpful and you want to learn more about this, you can subscribe to this channel. It does help me as well to promote my content online. And by the way, safety, it's really important for you to remember this. Safety makes people listen. Otherwise, pressure will make them hide. This is why you need to start with safety. Again, it's not about whether you're right or wrong. It's not about whether they're not listening, etc. Safety comes first. It's what makes people listen. Just to give you an example, it could be she or he, but in that example, it's she. She kept acting, you never open up, right? The frustration of like, I'm the only one being emotional, we're in a relationship, etc., etc. It needs to be to shift this to what helps you feel closer, right? So I'm not accusing you. Let's brainstorm this idea. We shift from this, you and I, and we argue on this of like, okay, we are a couple, a unit. Let's discuss and find a solution. So you share the problem, you solve the problem together, right? And so when you do this, when you approach things like this, he or she, or in that case, he, will explain the reason he's like this. But he wouldn't explain because he's defensive, because usually when you're defensive, you don't explain. And he will try to solve the solution with you. That's constructive. That's what will get you result. And so what you have to do is to gauge, assess the progress. Whether, and you'll sense, so it's very hard to explain, but you'll feel, because you know this person really well, you'll feel when you look at them in the eyes, whether it's hard for them, whether they want to avoid eye contact. You'll see in their tone, you'll see in their words. Also, what I love to assess is whether in return they'll start to open up. So for me, there's an extra level, the expert level of effective communication. It's when you're able to also express and link this emotion to a triggering event, to something that happened in your childhood, or when you had other partners or in previous relationships, where you're able to say, I feel this way because this triggers an old wound. And I know some of it, I'm not responsible, I'm not in control. And I would like us to find a solution so we can make it work together. Now, the point is, all the time when I work with my clients, it's not so much about getting back together. It's about whether you can repair the relationship. And it takes two to repair a relationship. If at the end of the process, you feel you're the only one making the effort, you're the only one investing, this is about naming. Again, it's not about judging, it's about naming, but showing your reality. No pressure. You're not adding any more of it's not a protest behavior of threatening, etc. It's just like, this is what I see. If you see that they are stonewalling, they are very defensive, this is where you have to be confident on your secure attachment. Because what differentiates someone who have an anxious attachment style versus people who have a secure attachment style is that the people who have a secure attachment style, they walk away when their needs are not met, when they know they've implemented those actions, they created the conditions for the right relationship for their partner to feel safe. But if in return your partner is stonewalling you, is refusing to discuss things, he doesn't want to play as a team, this is not the relationship for you. So that's why usually what you have to do is you speak once, you stop. It's not by the amount of things you will discuss that will solve the thing. It's really about stating something, not judgmental, wait for them to assess and come back to you. That's it. If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.